Hello NCU students, welcome to week 3. Hope things are going well. I know it's been a little bit of a trip the last couple of weeks. Listen, this week we are calculating probabilities for different types of numbers and how to estimate the confident intervals in our probabilities and for populations based on sampling and that sort of thing. So our learning objectives this week include reviewing the differences between discrete and continuous variables. We're going to look at understanding how to calculate the probability and the mean and the standard deviation for a data set that contains discrete variables. Those are out of Chapter 5, by the way. Knowing how to calculate the probability of a data set that is discrete but doesn't have a normal bell curve or distribution look to it. So a binomial distribution or the Poisson distribution, not Poisson distribution, like we might be tempted to say, but Poisson distribution. So different discrete data sets have different types of distributions, and they may not all be normal. Out of Chapter 6, we're going to look at understanding the central limit theorem. We're going to define also the confidence intervals based on some sampling errors and some sampling sizes and that sort of thing. And we're also going to look at understanding confidence intervals for populations using the t-distribution. So we're going to read about that too. Listen, I know the material in this course is difficult. It's difficult for me to explain and grade, excuse me, but it's what we do. That's Dr. Veach and I have talked, and it's, we know this is difficult material, and we're always looking for ways to explain it better. There's a lot of information, and so we have this problem with a lot of material that's also pretty complex at times. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Lots of material, hard to explain. So this week I'm going to try something a little bit different as I organize the material. So first, I'm organizing the material in Beacon Learning by the subsection titles that are in the book. I'm hoping that this will galvanize or categorize, if you will, all the supplemental material that we have out there around the same topics in the book. And it's in the same order as the book. So I'm hoping this will make it a little bit easier for you to use the supplemental material along with the course text. So you'll be able to look at the course text, align it, and go find out the corresponding supplemental material in Beacon Learning. I've also found a lot more supplemental material to include this week to help you along. So don't be too surprised excuse me, at the material under the attend page. It's quite a bit there. Well, the second change I'm making, besides organizing the material, and a way to try to help you out, the second thing that we're doing is Dr. Veach and I have agreed. Dr. Veach is the other section's professor. We've agreed to meet during the week each week for the terms left here. And the idea of that meeting is going to be just to allow us to bounce ideas off each other so that we can explain material better. We can tune the curriculum a little bit as we go based on how you're doing. So don't be surprised if maybe we add things in that maybe you didn't see before. We twist things around a little bit just to try to make it a little more understandable. Each group of students, each cohort is a little bit different, and so struggles, concerns, and development areas and strengths are all a little bit different. So we're kind of modifying the curriculum a little bit as we go, not much. But hey, 2 profs are better than 1. Maybe, I don't know, maybe not. Now the third thing that's changing is I'm going to move my virtual office hours to Wednesday evenings instead of Tuesday evenings. This is going to give us give me more of a chance to review the material with you. Gives you more of a chance to look at it before Tuesday night, which is the normal night. Look at it and dial in or be a part of the discussion on Wednesday night. Gives you an extra night to think about things. And so I want to be able to help you and address those, so address your concerns and that sort of thing. So I'm moving the meetings from Tuesday to Wednesday. Hopefully I'll get a little more better participation from you. Maybe it's a night that works for you. Gives you an extra night to look at the material before dialing in. So it's going to be on Wednesday evenings, same time, 7 p.m. Let me spend a few minutes on this week's topics. This week we're going deeper into probabilities. Now, I'm going to start by reminding ourselves that numbers are divided into discrete and continuous variables. All right, they're often random. So discrete means the numbers are unique, they're countable. So for example, the number of coffee shops in your town, the number of roads the number of roads in your city where you have homes. Those are all countable. You can count all the roads in your town. Or my favorite one, the seating capacity in the big house, where my Michigan Wolverines play. It's 107,601. The largest in the nation. Maybe it's been bested in the last couple of years, I'm not sure. But anyways, those are examples of discrete numbers, things you can count. Continuous numbers, though, are those that cannot be counted or would be nearly impossible to count. For example, the exact number of, I got a glass of water here I'm drinking from. So the exact number of ounces in my glass of water, and they change each time, right? They're never the same. Even a drop more or a drop less, and the number could be different. So even if I fill it up, to the top, there's still, and I fill it up the next time, it's still a little bit different. And so, the changes in the amount of weight in the water, the weight in the glass changes even infinitesimally. The example of a continuous number. But anyways, that's an example. I think I've got another one here I wanted to talk about. The number of minutes that you sleep each night. Not even minutes, just the time that you sleep each night. Down to the millisecond. Different night to night to night to night. And who knows what really wake up means, right? So, again, you think you get the idea between discrete and continuous. Well, with those differences in mind, Chapter 5 does a deep dive into understanding how to examine the probabilities of discrete and continuous variables, along with how to calculate the mean and standard deviations of discrete variables. We handle that differently than we do continuous variables. Now, be sure to understand how to use the z-score to understand the probabilities of normally distributed curves. Chapter 6, we take on the notion of the central limit theorem and its implication for establishing sampling sizes and confidence levels. Here's the basics, the basic takeaway for the central limit theorem. The larger the sample size of that you take of any population, the more the sample will look like a normally distributed curve, the bell curve. Okay? So once you have established that, everything that we learn about z-scores, mean, standard deviation out of Chapter 5 and earlier, all those can now be applied to population. So if you sample enough data points out of a population, your data will be normally distributed, and you can use all those other calculations or something similar to them that we've been studying about. If you look in your text on look at figure 6.1, it illustrates this principle really well. One final idea from Chapter 6 that's important is that of the t-distribution. So not the z-score, but the t-distribution. And they're kind of cousins to each other. Understanding the confidence level of a population based on a sample requires a standard deviation of that population. And that number, folks, is really often tough to get, if not impossible. Standard deviation of a population. So, to estimate the confidence level of a population, we use what's called a t-distribution. Now, be sure to read about it in Chapter 6 and watch the supplemental videos. All right, that's it for now. Remember, start thinking about your business data analytics project. It's coming up in week 5. The primer is at least. It'll be like the first draft of it due. And remember, God is on his throne. He's always been there, and he's always going to be. Have a great day.